Awesome. All right, so we are going to be talking about positive leadership. All right. Because it is one of the secrets that a lot of times people don't fully understand in this business, because, you know, our business is extremely simple, right? You do this, and it gets you here, right? However, it's not necessarily easy. And one of the things that is not necessarily easy is this positivity sort of piece to it, right? It's your outlook, it's your tone, it's the way you approach things, it's your attitude, it's all that stuff. And even when you have a positive, you know, you're sitting there telling yourself, I'm positive, I'm doing all these positive things, you know, because you're like, this positive person said to do XYZ, therefore I'm doing XYZ, so I'm positive. Positivity is one of those things that if you're faking it, right? And that's a saying of our business, fake it till you make it, right? Positivity is one of those things that you just can't fake, right? Because when you're faking it and when you're pretending to be positive for everybody else, you're saying all the right words, you're doing all the right things, it still is not going to have that genuine impact that it does when you are a positive person with a positive outlook. And so it's really important. And it's one of the, like I said, it's one of those things, like, we can train a lot in this business. We train all the time. That's what we do. We train till we're blue in the face. But this is one of the pieces that we can talk to you about it, but you have to do the work, right? You have to do the work on yourself to grow in that way. But it's one of those things, and one of the beautiful things, the many beautiful things about this business, that is, it's transferable through your whole life, right? So it applies to the business, but it also applies to your family. It applies to your personal life, your personal relationships, your work life, right? Outside of Tupperware, your day job, right? It applies to all those places. And so there are a couple things. One thing that I'm just going to pass on, there's something called the Positivity Project, right? And you can Google it. And it's called the Positivity Project. And it's just kind of an accountability of, like, keeping yourself positive and doing this some positive action every single day. And I've known people that have done this Positivity Project, and you'll see them on Facebook, and they'll post something positive and they'll hashtag Positivity Project, right? Because positivity is one of those things that the more you can bring it into your life and shower yourself with it, the more it does start to kind of penetrate, right? And so it kind of starts to break through those layers of maybe not so positiveness, right? It starts to kind of, but if you are not necessarily naturally a positive person, you probably have some people in your life that are the same, right? And so when you're fighting it and you're trying to be positive, those people, sometimes Pam has talked about the crabs in the bucket, right? And they don't have to put a lid on the bucket because the crabs pull each other down. And that's kind of what it's like when you're around people that aren't positive and you're trying to be positive. You're clawing your way to the top and they just keep kind of trying to pull you back down. And so it is a bit of a battle, right? So there are 5 small things that I'm going to share with you that have a big impact when it comes to your journey in positivity, right? And in positive leadership as well. So they're practical ways that you can cultivate that positivity in your life and in your career, in your business, all that stuff. So one of the things is be mindful of mood. All right. To be mindful of your mood and to recognize when you are in sort of a mood or a funk, right? I have certain action steps I take when I wake up in a mood, or if somebody puts me in a mood, which just still is my choice to respond to that person, right? But sometimes it feels like that person put you in a mood by whatever it is they said to you, right? And so knowing kind of what your triggers are that kind of trigger a mood for you, but also knowing how to respond to them is so, so powerful. And sometimes it's simple things that you can do to elevate your mood, right? And to create this more positive vibration around you, right? But when you're being mindful of mood, it is so important to just kind of know yourself, right? So one of the things that helps me when I'm having issues with my mood, right, is music. Music is huge. It is huge. Now, whether it is your favorite all-time jam, doesn't matter what the words are, or if it's a song that is more uplifting, right? So if it's your favorite all-time jam, you just kind of jam out to it. And sometimes I like to listen to the aggressive music because it kind of gets that aggression out if I'm feeling like angry for some reason, right? But then other times I want the uplifting music. I want the music that is like all about the comeback, right? Because that's kind of the place I need to go, right? And then sometimes I want it to be more of a spiritual uplifting type of music, right? I want it to be more gospel music and more Christian-based music that's going to lift me up and elevate me and remind me of who I am and why I'm here, right? And so it's important to kind of have those sort of things in your tool belt, right? To be able to pull out when you need them. But something else that I do to elevate my mood is to laugh, right? To laugh, just simply laugh. You know, find a funny video of, you know, people slipping on ice or something silly, you know, or it doesn't have to be necessarily like something that's super duper, you know, positive, and it doesn't always have to be like a motivational speaker. It can just be something that's going to bring you to laughter. Maybe it's a child laughing, right? A baby laughing, or, you know, one of those sort of things. But having those type of things at the ready, right? Maybe it's a comedian that you love. That is so powerful. But also having somebody that you can call that you know is going to lift you up is also very powerful as well. You know, having somebody that you know is going to pull you through that and be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, it's done, you know, or tell me about it. Okay, now that you've told me about it, it's done. Let's put it behind us. Let's move forward. Or somebody that's going to tell you how great you are, because sometimes you just need to hear that. Right? You need to hear that. You need somebody to go, listen, you've got this. You're amazing. Look at the things you've done, right? So sometimes you need to be reminded of that, right? So all of that is kind of being mindful of your mood. And there are some other sort of things that you can do if you're into it. Meditation and exercise. Exercise is proven. And I'm not talking about going and doing like CrossFit or something crazy. I'm talking about just moving your body, taking a walk, doing things like that, right? If you're into CrossFit, go for it. I'm not a CrossFit girl, clearly. Okay, so, but, you know, but just kind of, again, knowing sort of those sort of things that you have at the ready in your tool belt so that you can pull those out when you need to elevate your mood, right? Okay, so something else, and you can apply those. So let's think about the team for a second, right? Because we're leaders here, okay? So let's think about your team. So what are some things that you can do to elevate the mood at your team meeting or a Zoom or maybe your chat, right? Maybe you have a chat for your team. So what are some things that you could do to elevate the mood of your team? Think about that. Any thoughts?
I think, you know, kind of hyping people up and being positive in the chat, like giveaways I do, happy birthdays a lot I do, like, and people are appreciative of that. I've noticed since I started doing stuff like that, people's response in the chat has been a lot different. So that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Sometimes it's those little things that are not Tupperware related, right? Just recognize them as people.
Right.
Friends, right? Absolutely. And if there's a way that you can kind of bring that sort of family feeling into your team, that's a good thing too. Helping everybody know they're accepted and that they belong, right? That is very powerful for your vibe of your team and all that good stuff. All right. So another thing, so number 2 is to build strengths. All right. To build people's strengths. And there's like research that proves that employees' performance declines on average by about 36% if they do like a review and all they're focusing on is all the problems, right? These are the things we need you to fix. These are some of the things that stand to improve, however they frame it up. If they're focusing on all the things the person's doing wrong, that there's a 36% like decline in their performance after that, right? And that they're, after an employee has a review that is more based on the things they're doing correctly, the things that they're doing right, that they have a 27% increase in their performance on that, right? And so it's really important to build people to their strengths and set them up for that success. Pam's really good at this. She knows a lot of her leaders' strengths. And so she calls on us to do those things to set us up for success because we're using our strengths, right? And it builds our confidence because we're doing something that we're a little bit better at than other things. Now she challenges us too to improve some of the things that maybe is something that we need a little bit more practice at too. But for the most part, she really does set us up for success. And she knows Amy Gardner's phenomenal at doing cooking demos. And so she knows anytime, any day, pretty much, she could ask Amy Gardner, hey, can you do a cooking demo for us next week? And because she knows that's something that she's very, very good at. She knows that, I'm good at training, right? I know that. I know I'm good at training. I've worked very hard on it. I wasn't always good at training, but over the years, I've honed that skill. It's important to me, and so she knows I'm good at that. So she knows pretty much at the drop of a hat, I can put together a solid training for her, and give me some time and I could hit it out of the park, right? And so it's important to know your team's strengths. If you have somebody, Kristi, you were just sharing at the beginning of this, you have a new manager that has a new recruit, and the new recruit just dated 4 or 5 parties. That's amazing. That's a strength of that new recruit, but also that new manager that recruited that person. Look at this person she recruited.
Absolutely.
She can spot it, right? She's a talent scout, and so to point that out to her, because a lot of times they don't realize it. They don't realize that they've done something pretty awesome here, stepping up to manager, recruiting a rock star, it's remarkable. And Kristi, you as a brand new director, you are cultivating this team of people that want more. Why? Because you're showing them more. You're going for the more and you're showing them that more. And that is a strength, and so sometimes we don't see our own strengths. I remember when Pam would say, what do you want to train on or whatever? What's working for you? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And she's like, what do you got? What are you feeling really good about? I'm like, nothing. Like, and that's still some days my answer, because that day I'm not feeling it, And so it's important to kind of, one, recognize your own strengths. And if you don't know them, talk to your upline. They can tell them to you, right? Because they're watching you and they're seeing the things you're doing that are great, And so, and Kristi, you're probably just like, well, I'm just being me, right? I'm just being me. I'm leading my people the way I would want to be led, right? Leaded.
Right.
And so you don't recognize that as a strength because it's just what you do, and so it's so important. So if you are having troubles recognizing your own strength, talk to your upline and have them help you identify those things, so you can be like, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe I am good at that. I did get this really great recruit. I did step up to manager, and just, that's something, it's something to build on. And then find those strengths in your people. It's so powerful because you can pull things out of people that they didn't even know were there. They had no idea was there.
I think that's huge too, because I have had a couple of people say that they've never had anybody believe in them the way that I have. So that makes me feel good. And then I feel like that gives them the confidence to then move that down the line to others and want them to do well too. So absolutely.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So, and then also cultivating. So number 3 is cultivating those positive relationships. And by talking to them about those strengths and doing that, that's what you're doing. You're building trust. And that is huge You know, when you have the trust of the people on your team, in your unit, that is powerful. That is powerful. I trust Pam beyond a shadow of a doubt. From the moment I started in Tupperware, I joke about, she says jump and I say how high. It's true. I don't, a lot of time now I might ask her why am I jumping? Right. But for years, I didn't even bother asking. I was like, if I needed to know why, she would tell me why. And she does. She'll tell me why eventually, you know, it comes out and she's like, oh, well, this is why I told you to do that. I'm like, oh, you're really smart. Look what happened, you know? And so it's important to have, for your team to trust you. And one of the best ways to build that trust is, one, by building them, by building their confidence, by believing in them, right? But two, also by delivering on what it is that you say you're going to do. You know, integrity, that builds so much trust. They know I can count on, is it Rachelle or Rachel? Rachelle. Okay. I thought it was Rachelle. All right. So, you know, they're like, I know I can count on Rachelle. I know that in a pinch, she's got my back. Like, I know that about my leader, you know, and it's so important for the people in your units to know that about you. Like, I've got you. I won't let you fall, you know? And so that is huge. And so that cultivating positive relationships part is absolutely one of the most important things that you can do as a leader. And so, all right. So number 4 is to find purpose. All right. To find your purpose, you know, and so, Rachelle, what would you say if you had to say something about what is your purpose in this business? What is the purpose of your team?
Educate.
Mm-hmm. I
Like
love that.
A lot of people on the team haven't had any Tupperware. They're really newbies. So when I did the little 4 squares on it, it was newbies, and I have some that want some or want more. So it's like, okay, I'm excited. So by just doing the demos with them, to showing them what it actually, you know, the products actually do, and they just like, I did the breakfast maker. I did my first Facebook party Saturday, and I was so excited. I was nervous and all that crazy stuff. But
always, yes.
Breakfast maker, simple product, first product I love. Gave it to my daughter, sent her off with college, and everybody was like, "Awesome! Oh, you made that in the microwave?" So they all wanted a breakfast maker. So I was like, "Hey!" So I sold 4 of those on Saturday.
Awesome.
Just
absolutely.
to educate them, because they don't know.
Right. They don't. I totally agree with you that on our products and things like that, people, it becomes second nature to us when we've had Tupperware in our kitchen, even if it's just a bowl and a spatula. You know, I mean, we're not even talking about like the major products, but once you start using those in your kitchen, it becomes second nature, and it's easy to go in the kitchen and whip something up. And so that's why, yeah, I totally agree. That's a great purpose, to educate people, one, that we're still here, and two, how amazing and helpful our products are right here, and they're so relevant right here, right now. So that's a great purpose. That's a great purpose to have, you know. And Kristi, I know I've worked with you on purpose, and we've talked about your purpose in this business, you know, and your purpose in life. You know, would you like to share that?
Yes. My whole purpose with Tupperware is to give back to others, and to help my community, to help build other people up. So I do a lot of fundraisers and help, because there's nothing more satisfying than seeing other people's joy and happiness, you know, whether it be with the homeless or with a foundation or the first responders or whatever. I love doing that. And now I've kind of adjusted that a little bit being a director, and now it's building like Joy, who doesn't want to work in the factory anymore. She's having a lot of time, and she wants to be able to retire from there and do Tupperware full time. So building her up and giving her that confidence and watching her be able to do that, you know, succeed is what my purpose and my drive is.
That's awesome. Absolutely. And, you know, and that actually leads us to the last point, which is igniting hope. And that's exactly what we do, that through our products. And we do that through our teams, and we do that through us by sharing our stories of how easy it was to get food on the table, our stories of great family friendly recipes that nobody's arguing over. They might be arguing, but they're arguing over the leftovers, right? Who gets to eat the last piece, right? And, you know, and just the igniting that hope that you can get time back. You know, just through our products, you can get time back. You can get time back with your family in the kitchen, you know, by using a pressure cooker versus standing over the stovetop, right? Igniting that hope that there is more out there. Like if you are unhappy with your day job, you know, whatever that is, if it's hard on your body, if it's hard on your heart, you know, or just, you're just wanting more, you know, you're wanting something different and more out of your life. That's what we have. We have that hope for people to be able to grasp onto and do what they will with it. And so, so those are just 5 very simple ways to kind of bring that positivity into your life. When you realize, like, you know, it's hard to be in a bad mood or downtrodden when you realize you have this gift to give. The gift of you, the gift of your products, the gift of this business, the gift of these friendships, you know, and that's the hope that we're able to offer to people. And it's up to them as to whether or not they want to accept it, you know, and that has no reflection on us. It has every reflection on whatever's going on in their life. Sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. And so even though something, you know, opportunity is banging on their door, they just can't hear it right now because they have other stuff going on in it. But it has nothing to do with the person knocking. You know, it has nothing to do with the business that is here that we're offering to them. And so, so those are just, like I said, just 5 small actions that can have a big impact on your positivity, on your outlook, and especially with your teams. So when you work through these things with your teams, you'll see a positive impact with your team. And in turn, you have that positive impact with you. So that's just kind of what I wanted to share tonight. So I didn't know, Pam, if you had anything else that you wanted to add.
Love it. I love it. I just want to remind you girls that is so important right now for you to realize where you end, Rachelle, the month, you will get paid in October. So your title right now is manager. So if you could pop that up to star manager, you're going to get paid in October as a star manager. Now, you have been, you guys, and I'm going to say this to Kristi too, because you need to look at your managers on your team and make sure they're not falling out this month. Because if they fall out this month and become a consultant or star manager or an executive manager, if they fall out because this is their 4th miss, actually everybody gets 5 misses this year, even the title, so if it's their 5th miss, then they fall out, then they will get paid at the level they fall to. So another thing I want you to know, and Kristi, this is more for you, but Rachel, you need to learn too as you go, all right? Now, if you are a executive manager and you fall out of title this month and your performance is that of a consultant, you're going to get paid as a consultant next month. You can go from executive manager all the way down to consultant. And so if you're an executive manager and your team hits 2,500 and you have 3 active, you'll fall down to manager. As long as you have your 500. I've seen it happen before where somebody was like an executive manager and fall out of title, and because they didn't have their 500 personal sales, even though their team had 4,500 or whatever. But one of those 3 things, you can't miss any one of those 3 things to hit a title. So manager would be 3 recruits, 2,500 and 500 personal. Star manager would be 6 recruits, 5,000 and and 500 personal. So you always have to have the 500 personal for every title. All right. The team count personal recruit is 369 and the sales is 2,500, 500 and 7,500. All right. So it jumps real even. All right. So just heads up, and it's so much easier, Rachel, for being on calls like this and learning as you go. I know myself, sometimes if I don't need to know it, I don't necessarily learn it until I need to know it. But at the same time, repetition will teach you. So it's always good to be on these calls. And I'm so proud of you, Rachel, for being
Oh,
here.
thank you. It's just kind of hard to. I mean, I have you see how many people I got on my team, and it's like as my unit. I'm sorry, but when I call, it's a hey, how you doing? Okay, just checking in. Da 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 da. Then it's just like, okay, don't hear. You don't want to talk to me no more. It's like, okay, I have to change something else. So I'll send a card. Just thinking about you. Do you need me for anything? Just let me know. Give me a call. Here's my text. Here's my email. So I'm sharing, but they don't want to talk to me. And I'm like,
You know what? I'm glad you brought it up because you need to think of first person benefit for them. So why do they want to hear from you? Okay. So I would like, for instance, the samples right now that start tonight at midnight. I wouldn't call them at midnight, but you can make phone calls tomorrow and you could say things like, hey, Rachelle, it's Pam. I just wanted to give you a call. You're entitled to a really good price on a special sample that came out today. And I know they're going to sell out of it because once they sell out of so many samples, they'll cut them off. And I wanted to make sure you knew about it. I'm going to send you a picture of it right now. If you want to go in and order it, let me know. If you don't have time, I'll do it for you. And I used to keep the number, like if I were you, Rachel, Rachelle, if I were you, Rachelle, see, you got your name right there and I go to read it. I'm like, okay. I know you well too. But if I were you, I would do things right now that I wouldn't do forever. Okay. So once you get a team flowing and going, you wouldn't necessarily spend the time to go back and call people individually like that on a one-on-one basis, because you've got a big team running and they're rolling and people, your people are going to learn from each other and you won't have to do that. But right now you do things you won't always do. And that would be making first personal phone calls on sample lists and make it as if it's to their benefit. You always call for first person benefit. It is never about you, your goals. I'm sorry, unless it's your mom or your sister, they're not going to care. Okay. And I'm telling you, you can have really good friends that sell Tupperware and they even don't necessarily care about you making a goal. They're your good friend, but let's face it, it's got to be first person benefit. Always, always, always. Okay. And so call them tomorrow, make a few phone calls and literally say, hey, it's, the samples that are coming out. Let me look real quick and see if there's something that's, oh my God, I can show you guys because you guys are on.
That's bowls.
Oh yeah, those That's-a-Bowls.
Just saying, I already ordered mine.
That's-a-Bowl set. They can get the That's-a-Bowl set. I promise you that That's-a-Bowl set will be the very first thing on the list that's going to stop. They'll stop. And here's what they do. They sell too many. They only have so many allotted to be samples. And they stop because they don't want to sell so many samples that they can't open up the product. You see what I mean? So they will stop selling those samples. So that is the perfect thing to make the phone call for.
Yup, those That's bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Pull into the circle, And when you do this, Rachel, when you do this,
I got you.
It's gonna take her a while, but
I know.
she's on my team. It's crazy. When you do this, though, you create an atmosphere of you helping them. And so when you are out for service-oriented mindset, they get used to wanting your phone call because they're like, oh, she's got something to tell me. All right. And so it changes the whole atmosphere
dynamic. Yeah.
of your team. When you're always you're watching their back type thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so when you're watching their back and call them with the best deals and best offers. Hey, listen, I just wanted to give you a call, Rachel. I wanted to tell you that they've got this bowl set. It is adorable and awesome. It's the That's-a-Bowl Tower. And I know we're going to sell out of it on our sample allotment. So I wanted to give my team a call and I thought of you. Here, I'm going to text you the picture and you can have the picture ready to go to text it to them and say, let me know if you need this or want this, or you could text it to them and then call them real quick.
Gotcha.
Or you could, the ones that don't answer their phone, you text it to them and say, hey, they've got an allotment of only so many sets of these. They will sell at the sample price. If you want in on this, let me know. I'll help you out.
Okay.
Be the girl that's got their back. Okay. And then they're going to want to hear from you.
Gotcha.
Now, are we allowed, when are we allowed to share the sales, the stuff that's going, can we do that now or do we have to wait till midnight to share it?
Well, we're supposed to wait till midnight, but I was getting ready to post it.
And when Pam posts it, we're in the clear. Because we'll say, our business leader did it.
Well, and so it's funny because I accidentally, one of my team saw it because I thought it was the samples that were coming out. And I accidentally posted the wrong thing and I removed it. And somebody messaged me, she's like, what was that sample? I said, oh, just please forget that. So please forget that until the middle or the end of September.
Yes.
So
Right. We're going to do a special with they order there's somebody wins their samples free. So I'm going to start to post that in just a little bit. So yeah.
okay.
That will start at midnight and when they can order. I think they can't order until 3:00 in the morning. When can they start ordering though? Can they order at midnight?
I don't know. I thought it was midnight, but it probably is 3.
All the time of changing stuff on me.
Yeah.
I think midnight. They can start ordering at midnight. Until midnight tomorrow night, I'll give them 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That way we'll get people to pull in sales for.
Right. And that's what we're talking about tonight in our hot topic is how to pull sales in for the end of the month. So
48 hours because today's Monday. So I'll give them until Wednesday night at midnight.
you're so nice.
To put their samples in and somebody wins their samples for free. Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you guys for being on.